Dune Part 2, directed by Denis Villeneuve, stars Timothée Chalamet, Zendaya, Javier Bardem, Austin Butler, and many others in a massive ensemble cast. The film picks up right as the first one left off, as we see Paul Atreides unite with the Fremen to set out on a journey of revenge against those who destroyed his family. This is one of, if not the most anticipated movies of the year, and especially for me. I've been waiting to see this for such a long time. I remember being so genuinely annoyed when the film got delayed because of the writer's strike. It wasn't fair at all. But now we finally see it, and I get to talk about it. This film felt like an historical event. This is going to go down as one of the most memorable cinematic events in years, as it's such an achievement in cinema because it's just so phenomenal. I guess I'll start with its cast and their performances alone, because there's just so many people here that I absolutely loved in this movie. While I think the guy has become one of these actors that gets cast in so many things, which makes me a little indecisive on him, for this movie made me a believer, and I gotta say, I think this is Timothée Chalamet at his absolute best. He has to do so much with his character as he slowly changes throughout the course of the film, and once we get to the final act, he steals the show. I almost found myself open-jawed at his performance at this point. He commands the screen with every line delivery, and you hinge onto every aspect of his performance at this stage. He was fantastic. Zendaya was pretty good as well. I don't exactly think she's a bad actress by any means. I just don't think she's been in enough movies to really shine as an actress, since the majority of the films she's done has been franchise movies, and I suppose this is included as well, but this is the first movie I've seen her in where she's actually pretty good. I can't exactly compare her performance in this part of Dune than the last part, since she barely had anything to do in the first part, but she was of course naturally a lot better here. I really enjoyed Javier Bardem in this film. He was able to I really enjoyed Javier Bardem in this film. He was able to perfectly convey someone who is absolutely dedicated to what they believe in, and you can feel it in how he speaks and in his face. He's also really funny in moments of the film. He's almost like a hype man for Paul. He's always encouraging him and hyping him up in his journey to become more like the Fremen, as he clearly wants to see him succeed. They essentially take the relationship he had with Jason Momoa in part 1 and translate it here in part 2, and it works really well. Austin Butler puts in a really good performance here. There's times where he made me physically uncomfortable, and the character of Fade himself is terrifying at times. You can never look away from him whenever he was on screen. I think his introduction scene where he's in a coliseum is one of my favorite of the movie, and maybe one of my favorite character introductions in modern cinema. His voice was very strange, and I realized since he is a descendant, he is essentially trying to sound like Stellan Skarsgård's character, but besides that, he did such a great job, and along with Chalamet, he's a force to be reckoned with. Christopher Walken is in the film too, and while he doesn't have a load of screen time in the film, I just loved whenever he was on screen. It took me forever to take him seriously, as he will deliver lines in such a classic Walken manner, which I found very hard to not just burst out laughing. But besides this, whenever he's on screen, it's just a joy to see. The story of this part is really gripping and engaging. I would say it's even more action-packed than part 1 as well. The last act especially has an amazing battle sequence, which is up there with the likes of Lord of the Rings. It's just absolutely memorizing and really enthralling and entertaining. It's really engaging to see Paul's journey into becoming more like the Fremen, while the trials he has to go through in order to gain their trust is really interesting to see. I think the film does a really good job at conveying this other culture. It almost makes you believe that it's real. I don't know whether to call a certain thing a plot twist, because it really all depends if you know about Dune going into this, but there is technically a twist that happens in the second act of the film, and it's really well executed. The visual effects in this film are beautiful. There's so much time and dedication and care put into every aspect of the visual effects. Dune Part 1 had its moments, maybe even one specific bad moment of CGI in that part. I literally can't think of a single frame of this film that doesn't look good. The visual effects artists really put their all into it. Not once does anything feel fake. I never feel cheated while watching this movie. It all feels real when you're watching it. The sandworms again look phenomenal and are scaled to an impressive degree. They're used more as allies in this film, and whenever any of the characters ride the sandworms in the film, it is genuinely some of the coolest parts of the film that you will watch. The cinematography in this film is breathtaking. I commend Greg Fraser, who did the cinematography on both parts of Dune and The Batman. He really knows how to shoot a scene. Every frame of this film is gorgeous and could be hanged in a museum since they're all so beautiful and just pieces of art in their own right. There's a gorgeous use of color in the film too. The opening sequence has this bright, saturated orange over the film and was really pleasing to look at. The first scene with Fade Raw is draped in a really gorgeous black and white. I can't say much on it other than it just looks fucking beautiful. Essentially, Dune Part 2 is nothing short of a masterpiece. It's one of the best movies of the year, and it could even be one of the best films of the decade. It's an achievement in sci-fi genre and cinema as a whole, and I can guarantee that it will go down as one of the most memorable experiences I had in a movie theater. I will never forget about this, and I will never shut up about it for as long as I live. I'm giving Dune Part 2 5 stars. It is a phenomenal feat in cinema, and essentially every aspect of the movie is borderline perfect. I already want to see it again, and I know once I see it a second time, I'll be seeing it over and over. I can't recommend this enough. It is absolutely worth seeing in a movie theater. I feel like it's the only full way to properly enjoy and experience a film. Just overall, perfect casting, perfect performances, perfect cinematography. It's just an absolutely fantastic film.